here.
Meet him, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know. Is it the same versus Mr. Mankey?
Yeah.
Oh. I think we're I asked him because I knew his answer to it.
Here you go. Put temporary ones.
I'm just asking, yeah.
It does fit. It's just tight enough that it's hard for me to use.
It's all good
It's
though.
fine.
We'll share it. Yeah, it's fine.
I don't.
My opinion, I think Ms. Councilman should not.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to point out that not only am I on time, but I'm not wearing turquoise because the election is over. I've been struggling with timeliness all year. What on earth is all this? Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Otherwise, I was going to forget.
Okay, thanks.
I resurrected this. I don't know if anyone still has.
I don't even know what that is.
Thank you.
They handed them out to all of us years back, that we were to wear them to the meeting, so the
my
little
Lord.
girls at the front counter can see
No wonder.
why we were all coming in like we knew we
Yeah, I
were.
can
I
remember
never got
one
one.
whole thing, but
So
yeah.
it's been 6 years.
Do you have everything you need, Officer?
I found it
Things got a
hanging,
little jumbled in the case.
hanging in the
Put things
closet. and I'm like,
around, so
what
I
is
want to make
that?
sure you guys have everything you need.
Okay, Karen, I'll give you your.
I know they all do.
Oh, man.
Waiting on Max. Mr. Shoemaker probably won't make it. Captain Mike Shoemaker join via Teams?
Yes.
Okay, so he's on. Okay, good.
Yeah, my ass is on team.
No, Mike
What's
Shoemaker.
the rule on that?
Okay.
He just can't vote because he's not here?
I'm not sure anybody knew that was addressed to them.
No, I'm thinking.
Oh.
I saw her look at me when she said
Well,
it.
I would think if he's on Teams, couldn't he?
My understanding is that's not a voting.
It's not a voting, but that's what we have it for.
And when I was unholy,
Okay, he's not on anyway, so.
okay, when I was unholy sick with flu earlier this year,
Yeah.
I tried to at least zoom into the one meeting I ever missed. And they wouldn't even let me zoom in as a non-voting
Yeah,
commissioner. So,
okay.
go figure.
That's odd.
Yeah, the
You know what
rule,
I'm thinking? I was thinking during COVID when I would watch the meetings and.
Yeah, the
do it that
rules-
way. But that was different.
Rules were different then.
all the boards I sit on, they will not
Screeching in at the
allow.
last second, ladies and gentlemen.
You know it's bad when I beat you here.
I got my flavor profile if you want one.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. We have Jackie in attendance along with all 4 flavors of her Altoids, which she's now setting out.
If anybody wants one, feel free.
Welcome to the Tourist Development Council. Today is November 13th. It is 9-ish a.m. And would you like to do the invocation?
Yes, I
Jackie?
would.
If you're willing and able to stand, please silence your devices, and then we will do the Pledge of Allegiance after.
Okay, if y'all bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this opportunity to meet freely, openly, and without worry. We thank you, Lord, for the decisions we make being the best of our ability, and we pray that everybody understands. Not everybody's always going to agree, but we do what we feel is best for everyone. We pray that you bless everybody's travel to and from the meeting, bless our first responders. Just thank you again for everything you do for us. In Jesus' name we pray and thank you. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
All right, good morning. Mike Ingalls,
Here.
Mindy Mulvey Hastings,
Peace. Here.
Jackie Hepford,
Here.
Here.
Holly Davis,
Here.
Luann Jacobs, Michael Mankey,
Here.
Max Schulman,
Here.
Dr. Desai,
Yeah.
And absent will be Mike Shoemaker.
All righty, thank you. Board, looking for approval of agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Jackie Hupner, second by Max Schulman. Any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, looking for approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Who was the motioner?
Mindy.
Mindy, okay. Motion by Mindy Hastings, second by Jackie Hupner. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, open to the public. Would anyone like to address the board? Anyone? Anyone? All right. Close open to the public. Local Lines Television.
All right. You're up.
Sorry, got a rookie behind
You're okay.
behind here.
Christine is out today. She's got some death in the family, so prayers for her this morning.
Is this what you want up, Brandon?
Yeah.
Oh, the presentation.
Yes, that one's.
Okay.
Yep.
I believe you've grown a little hair since last time we saw you.
Just a little bit.
Didn't really recognize you.
All right.
Oh, am I good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
You wanna stay out here and help me?
Two copies of it?
You're good. All right, guys. I am Captain Brandon Branch, born and raised here in Crystal River. Been charter fishing here for 9 years, but 3 years ago we started Local Lines TV. It's based off of Waypoint TV, and we have grown tremendously over the last 3 seasons, just wrapping up our 3rd season yesterday. And it's basically a show to do the Gulf Coast of Florida and up into the Gulf of Mexico. We try to do 1 to 2 hunting shows a year. This year we ended up doing 1. 3 of the shows being filmed here in Crystal River, Inverness, or Homosassa. We always throw in a bass show, which is on Lake Henderson, and then we try to mix it up a little bit. We do offshore, inshore. We do a little bit of everything, trying to change it up from what the normal people are doing. So we're looking to change it up this year. We'll continue with the bass show. We're going to try to do a bow fishing show with Justin Diamond in the next 2 weeks, something different. He's a charter captain here in Crystal River, does all nighttime bow fishing. No one's ever shot a show here in Crystal River like that. And then our 3rd show for this season will be, we're going to try to do a half turkey show and a half fishing show, a little bit of both, just to get the hunting aspect out there for the county that not really a lot of people see. We have a lot of wildlife management areas that people hunt, a lot of opportunity for these people to get out and do different things than just the fishing, the scalloping, the manatees. So we like to kind of do a little bit of all of it and really show what Citrus County has to offer. So that's what we have going on right now. And what we have is we have 8 to 12 guest appearances a year. Our episodes are 22 minutes long. That's not including the 30-second commercials that we do for our sponsors throughout. And then we do banner slides as well, which pops up. It would show up Discover Crystal River or Sodium Fishing Gear. So that's in there as well as the commercials. This season we'll be doing 12 episodes for the season, and it'll be all over the United States that we'll be filming those. We do 10 commercials per show. They're 30-second commercials. So that's what we have to offer. We have a lot of different price ranges that we do to try to get you the best bang for your buck. Y'all did the sponsorship last time for $18,000. That got you the slides, and it got you, I have the back corner panel of my truck, Discover Crystal River, as well as the tailgate, so you get 3 sides. Y'all are the only ones that got 3 spots on the truck wrap. And this year we'll be doing the boat wrap, so it'll be, we're going to do 8 logos on the boat wrap throughout. So our sponsorship levels have different size logos. Right now y'all are on medium logo, and we'll be changing the truck wrap here in January. Our views, as you can see in 2023, is you see this big spike in April, May, June, and July. So Waypoint TV does linear airings as well as not just the streaming. So right now we're doing 4 primetime airings per week for 26 weeks. That's where you'll see this big spike coming up. We start in April and then we'll go all the way to July, really hammering this. So what our goal is this year is to do a 52-week linear airings, and that'll be 4 airings per week, so we can see these numbers grow throughout. A view for Waypoint TV, as you can see the views here, is going to be someone that's watching more than 3 minutes at a time. But you'll see as it jumps up, the 2024 views, I don't have the last 6 months of the year. I'll have those the 1st of December. We'll be getting those in. But you'll see the same trend, I think, in that is where we'll see over 250,000 views a month from basically April all the way through until August this year it'll be. And then we'll probably see a slight decline. That's because we're not doing the linear airings. They have 50 million viewers per month on Waypoint TV, so they have a huge audience. I mean, they have 78 to 80 shows, hunting and fishing on there. As well, we just jumped on with Carbon TV. It's another streaming network. They do Roku, they do Apple, Samsung, LG, things like that. They have 10 million monthly viewers a month, and we're averaging about 40,000 views a month right now. But we're expecting that to climb because they're really taking off. They're adding more shows. They're giving us more opportunity to add commercials. But Waypoint's our main target, so we'll air with Waypoint. We have a contract with them that we can't air with anyone else for 30 days. So you'll see that it'll come out on Waypoint, and then it'll come out on Carbon. But it just gives us more of a range of audience. If someone's not watching Waypoint TV, they can watch it there or on YouTube. So I would say on average between all 3 platforms, we're averaging somewhere around 250,000 views per month. And a view, like I said, is more than 3 minutes watched. And you can see our times, we are at roughly 12 million to 14 million minutes watched per year for local lines. So it's really good to get out there and be able to see this. But Waypoint, their social media outlets, they have 3 social media platforms. We have to where they are putting us out 4 times a month, shooting reels and things like that onto their social media. They have 87 million impressions on social media through their platforms. They have multiple different platforms. So they are shooting, they have 11 social channels, but I really say their Instagram and Facebook are their most important, where they're getting all their views from. So they'll post us on there, like I said, 4 times a month. And then they're 115 monthly hours viewed per CTV. That's going to be where we're off the linear and we're onto the streaming network. So that's where that's where we're getting our views now, but we want to kind of shoot up into that linear channel because this is where we're really thinking that the audience is going to come in. The people that are on Valley Sun Sports and they're on these linear channels, they're getting the views, but there's a change coming right now, and that's people streaming. So that's what we're trying to hit hard. We're trying to get on multiple different streaming networks. So what we're wanting to do is, like I said, we want to boost it up our linear airings on Waypoint, and then that'll boost our views up. So it's been really good. Our social media, we're putting out a ton of good stuff for Discover Christian River, not only on local lines, but my charter page. Our most viewed reel this year was, I think it was 192,000 views on a grouper reel I did to showcase what we have to offer here in Crystal River for grouper fishing. But we try to mix it up. We do inshore, offshore, we do the bass reels. So we're on average about somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 views per reel right now on my Crystal River Fishing Company page, which is really good. And we're putting out, we try to do once every 2 days, we'll put out a reel, but we put out something almost every day for fishing wise, for grouper, trout, redfish, whatever it may be. But we just want to try to change it up and get everything different, and we really want to push what Christian River has to offer. We're working with a ton of great companies right now. As you can see here, we're starting to work with AFCO, Daiwa, Diamond, and we're bringing those people into Crystal River. AFCO, for instance, they're a huge company. They have a ton of social media followers. We have brought them to Crystal River. We've done filming with them. They have put out our stuff on all of their website and everything like that, so that's been really good. We're bringing the people in from Daiwa, huge companies. They're really pushing what we're doing down here in Crystal River, so that's been a really, really good help for us here on the Crystal River aspect side of things. And then the benefits is I've pretty much gone over all this, but we just want to expand the audience that Crystal River and Homosassa and Inverness is really getting to do, especially this year with what we've had to go through with hurricanes and stuff. We're trying to really push that hard, that Crystal River and our area is just fine. I mean, we're going to recover fine. There's places to stay. There's things to do. We're opening back up. So we've really been pushing that hard here in the last few months, and we're going to continue to push that and through the first of the spring and really get the people that we have coming to Crystal River to keep coming, because that's what really keeps us going around here. So that's been a big thing that we're really, really pushing hard to do, is to get these people coming back to Crystal River. And then this is just our contact information if you want to get in touch with us. I work with Lateral Media. They're a big media company. They shoot a ton of TV shows. They're also pushing everything we have to do on their social media. But these guys are great. We have a great film crew, and they do an excellent job. All right. Terry, can you switch us over to the packages page, please? We already went over these. These are just some of the shows that we've done throughout. That was a tuna show in San Diego, California, Wahoo show on the East Coast. This was a show that we we worked with Save Crystal River on. We caught bass, redfish, trout, saw a bunch of manatees, talked about what they're doing to the bay and what the bay has to offer. That was a really good show for us. As you can see, here's my truck wrap. You have the back corner panels as well as the tailgate. You can't really see it in that second picture to the right, but it is there. So that thing is driving all over the country. We fish the Florida Redfish Series tournaments, so we're traveling all the time. We go all over the place, and that thing gets me where we need to go. All right. So here is where we will have our sponsorship levels. The last time that we did work together was the silver sponsor. Featured on, it says on an episode, we did 3 episodes in Citrus County, just because that's what we wanted to do. And then, as you'll see here, it says on the silver, it was 1 sponsorship charter with Brandon Branch at no charge. We ended up doing a couple, actually. We worked with a writer for Florida Sportsman Magazine, took him fishing. We shot a ton of different content. He's going to be doing 5 articles. He's going to be doing a cobia article. That'll release in April. He's doing a gag grouper article. He's doing another article just about Crystal River and what we have to offer. And then he's doing a couple different artificial baits for our area, and as well as a live bait article for our area as well. So that one guy is writing 5 articles for us in Florida Sportsman Magazine, one of the most viewed magazines for the outdoors in the state of Florida. So that was really good. And then we'll have, this says small logo. I gave you all the medium logo last time on the truck. And then it'll be, of course, featured on our local lines and Crystal River Fishing Companies onto Instagram, Facebook. We just started TikTok, actually. So we're trying to expand and do things and get out there to everyone. But what I'm looking for, and then you'll move down. Gold is you'll be aired as a sponsor. You'll have the banners on there on the show. That'll be 4 times on the gold that it would pop up throughout. And it'll be 2 sponsorship charters of the tourism's choice of what I'll take people at no charge. We can have writers, anyone that they send my way to take out at no charge, just to get out there and do things like that. Then featured on the social media again, but the big one is the platinum. It's $28,000 sponsorship, and what we would do with the extra money if we went with the $28,000 sponsorship is all the extra money would go into putting into those linear airings and getting those extra add on to the 26 weeks to 52 weeks and get the linear airings every single week, which is going to push our viewership way up throughout the year. So that's our main goal. And if we went with the platinum, it would be 4 of our 12 episodes would be aired here in Crystal River, as well as a custom commercial for the area for Discover Crystal River and the tourism. Our custom commercial, we would shoot for not just fishing, but we would shoot for fishing of inshore, saltwater and fresh, hunting, and we would try to highlight the manatees and scallops all in one 30-second commercial. That's made by my producers, so they would get that taken care of. Or if y'all had a commercial that you would prefer that we put on there, we could do that as well. That would be a large logo on both sides of the truck, whole back corner panel again. This would offer 3 sponsorship opportunities. That would allow 3 guests to come out with me for the day and do whatever we need to do, whether it be writers, videographers, we can get that taken care of. And featured on the website, Instagram, social media, at least 6 times a month, every month for the whole year is what that would be. Along with, I offer this with the Platinum Package. I do seminars throughout the state of Florida for different people, whether it be via Instagram, I do live seminars, or I go 2 places. If that was something y'all were interested in, I do 2 seminars per year in person. So if they wanted to hold a seminar at the tourism building or something like that, that is something that I am open to do, which is really good for the audience of not just Citrus County, but all over the place to bring people here. So that's something that we're trying to do a little bit different this year, is to really amp up those. I kind of prefer the live Instagram seminars more than the in-person, just because you can reach such a big audience. You don't have to be in person to see it, but we're trying to shoot to where we can do both the live Instagram and in person at the same time, so we'll have someone there videotaping it. But that's really what we're shooting for, is to go with a platinum sponsorship, just so we can, our main goal is to get that viewership up, and we want to add on to those 4 primetime linear airings a week. Any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
So the linear airing, those are the high points in this graph?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
So we do those 26 weeks, is 4 airings per week in primetime.
Okay. What is the difference between 2023 and, I'm sorry, let me make that note before I forget. 2023 and 2024.
As of now, the first half of the year for 2024 is the only views, that's the only information I have so far. I'll have the rest of the information December 1st. We're looking at about 1.7 million views more in 2024. Those views are coming not just from Waypoint, but we added to Carbon TV. And they let us add all 3 seasons to Carbon TV this year. So that's something that we've been able to add to and get those extra views from, to bump up to that 1.7
Because
million.
I'm looking at the delta between the high and the low points on 2023, and it looks like about 105,000 views was the low point, 250 was the high.
Yep.
And then in 2024, 80 was the low and 310 is the high. That's a much greater magnitude of difference. So I was
Yeah.
just wondering what changed from 23 to 24.
So the 24 is just, it'll be, when it got down into that 80s, it's because we weren't hitting the linear airings quite as hard as we were. In 2024, we weren't hitting them as hard and as early as we were. In 2023, we hit our linear airings earlier in the year. So we did our linear airings were in that we started in February launching the linears last year, and then we ran them for 24 weeks, I believe it was. That's where you see our peak keep going up, and then it just hard drop there at the end. So we're expecting to see this in the 2024 from basically April on. It drops a little bit in May, but we're expecting to see a big outreach all the way through about October this year with a big up climb, and not that big. We're not going to see that decrease like we did last year in the 2024. We'll have a really good, strong fall, because that's when we were pushing our shows the hardest.
And you basically have to collect enough sponsorship money to do more of the linear airings.
That's exactly right.
And if we're the only sponsor that does the increase of 5,000?
Now, I have a lot of sponsors that
10.
are going to be doing the increase this year, and that's really going to push us to do. So last year we only did 10 episodes. This year we're doing 12 episodes. That's another thing that we're going to be adding in there. The cost of the shows is very expensive to do, to film and to air. So we're pushing everyone to go bump up and be able to do more shows and get the more views.
Okay. Board, questions? Max?
First, this is a two-part question, part over to you, Alyssa. Do you end up putting any of his stuff on your medias?
Yeah, we do periodically. Yeah, we do. We do, and I know Brandon and I know his material,
Right,
and yeah.
but there's a symbiotic relationship
Yeah.
there if you can push him and he's
Yep.
pushing us.
Yeah.
And I can provide anything that is ever needed, drone footage, I mean, anything. I can get her in contact with my guys and they can send it over to her. I mean, I got so much footage of Crystal River, it's insane. I mean, we have footage of everything you could think of here in our area, so that is something that we could definitely provide if needed.
So one question is, have you ever done a kayak fishing segment, or are you considering it?
I have not, but I could definitely add that to my list because that is a very good point, and it's growing in our area tremendously.
Yeah, we don't sell it anymore, but we did a kayak fishing book in 2019, and about 2/3 of our sales came from Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Yep.
A lot of folks come down here in the winter to kayak fish.
Yep.
And there's actually, you could split a segment because, and I know you haven't thought about this, but there are a lot of people that bird by boat, because
Yep.
our winter, especially birds of prey, up in the whole area, pretty much from Inglis, west.
Yep.
It's a lot of birds they don't see in concentrations that they don't see unless they're going by a kayak, or if we were growing guides taking folks on birding.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of money in that.
And I do have my guys, what they consider B-roll, shooting different birds all the time too. I mean, the white pelicans, I mean, there's so many different species of birds that they film and put on the show throughout the B-roll
Yeah.
section of it. But yeah, the kayak thing would be a great show, and it's very unique. No one has ever done it. I would definitely put that on my radar to do.
I'll get in touch with you.
Yeah.
The book we did, we had a lot of, Gary Rankle was the primary author, and he was probably preeminent
Okay.
kayak fisher for about 10 years.
Yep.
Last question is, you said you're changing your wrap. Are the sizes of our logos gonna stay the same?
It will go a little bit bigger this year. It'll be the whole
Ooh,
back
I
corner
like that.
panel.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's not a ton bigger, but it'll be the whole back corner panel this year. And then the boat wrap will be, you would get the biggest front part of the boat wrap I had the boat wrap halfway designed, but it'll be the front half of the boat pretty much was where the Discovery Crystal River logo will be.
That's really important because,
Yep.
we have a constituency that wants to know the healthy, hearty things that we're doing.
Yep,
That are traditional Citrus County, and you're at the heart of the heart.
absolutely.
And then, do our economic development people ever talk to you or leverage the sponsors you have to see if we can get some factories in here that are building boats again and doing those kind of things?
They do not, no.
There should be a tie to economic development in areas like that, small industry, when you get a brand name boat, and you can also say where it's made.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I think this is a great package and stuff.
But the large logo that you talked about was only with the platinum, right?
With the platinum, yep, the large logo. So the medium logo is what y'all have now, and that's not quite the whole back corner panel, but it's the back section of the quarter panel. And we don't have the boat wrap this year, but it will be wrapped next year, well, in January.
Board? Jackie?
I know everybody's been waiting for this, y'all. You've meant, and this is very positive, and I like what I'm hearing, but how much of a percentage roughly on some east side coverage? You've got tons of stuff on Crystal River.
Yep.
What about the bass and the lakes and the trail and the east side?
So every season we add in a bass show. The first 3 seasons we've had a show on Lake Henderson. We try to put that in there every single year and really showcase that. Where we're going to bump up, where we would need to bump up is to bump up the social media post a little bit on the east side. And I can have my guys, they put together reels for me weekly. So we can get y'all the reels, and we'll blast it on our social media as well as y'all's.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I would love to see us end up working a little on trail tourism, particularly, because a lot of the folks that come are not gonna spend all their time
Yep.
in the water. We don't really do anything because they've never come to us with the equestrian community, and we have some, we've got an awful lot of equestrian miles, and those folks bring money when they come, and if you can convince them, a commercial while they're looking at fishing things, that come here with your trailer and your horses and have the greatest week of your life, so.
I have a few contacts in that industry, as you might imagine. Mike?
Yeah, for staff, is there a separate landing page or anything we're putting out? So can we track any kind of performance? It's a heck of a spike and a great spike there in the spring when they're running linear. But is that following through to our website and or bookings for the hotels?
So I know Miles, they do some back end from our fishing.
One from a social media standpoint, we definitely can look into that a little bit deeper and get some more numbers for you if you're looking for some hard numbers.
Yeah, well,
From our
I guess in
fishing
general,
page and stuff,
is it being effective for us?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, it's great visibility, but are we seeing results, on the back end?
I
Yeah.
know my wife took, she deals with a lot of my emails and stuff for the charter business side of things and tells me what we have coming in. And that one post that I had mentioned about the grouper post, it was 192,000 views. I think we had 226 emails off of that one post. Not just booking me, I booked several other charter captains throughout to be able to book that. But that was just off of one post. And here recently, I've been pushing for my charter business, the catch and release grouper thing really hard. And we've been booking trips daily for it for people coming out of state. And the people, and where we get this audience from, especially for the grouper stuff, is not necessarily here in our area, because I hate to say it, but Chaslewitzka all the way up to the Gainesville area, it's a kill fishery. Everyone wants to come fill their freezers. So these people that we're targeting on the catch and release side of things are coming from out of state or the bigger cities that don't want to come kill a ton of fish. So that's what I'm really pushing for I like the catch and release. I would much rather come home and not have to clean a bunch of fish. And it's just worked really well for us to push this. I'm saying we're pushing it harder than anyone in our area. And I push catch and release very, very hard. And that's where you're going to see the people come, the fly fishing guys from out west, the fly fishing guys from the East Coast. And that when we bring those people in, that's the people that I think we want to be here spending money, because everyone from the fly fishing industry and the catch and release industry seems to spend a lot more money going out to eat and things like that, rather than the people that want to come catch a bunch of fish and kill them and fill their freezers, which I get and I do it. But the audience that we're really trying to capture is the people that want to do the catch and release. But we have seen I can get numbers for you of how many people I'm personally bringing. I ran 300 charters last year. 218 of the charters that I ran were people from out of town that came and stayed in Crystal River.
And I will say this too, with our Facebook fishing page, Terry's taking that over now. And Brandon, we have one of 4 fishing campaign / partners that we have from a fishing component. So we know how big it is, so this is just, he's just one of the slices of the pie, so to speak, a good slice, by the way, so.
I did want to add one thing too, is what's great about what Brandon does. He's very active in the conservation community as far as anglers go, and he's a big proponent of with the captains for clean water, and he's known in the community as such. So that brings really good positive energy to our industry as well, because it shows that we've got active conservation people out there and we're represented by them.
One more thing I didn't add is CCA is one of my big sponsors. I've been a part of Coastal Conservation Association ever since I was a little kid, and I've taken over my dad's job as chapter president for the Coastal Conservation Association, so I'm really involved with that. But something that we've been working really closely with, my cousin Justin Branch, he is one of the head guys out at Duke Energy Mariculture Center. They do all the releasing of fish and stuff like that, so we're going to be working with those guys a lot. We're actually getting set up to film a show with them, showcasing what we're releasing back into the county. We're doing 80,000 speckled sea trout the first of the year.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I've
Yep.
toured that facility. It's
Yeah, it's
amazing. It's
unbelievable.
amazing work that they do.
Yeah, they took a really hard hit from the hurricane, but they're getting back up and running, and they'll be back rolling here pretty quick.
What happened?
They lost, that whole place flooded.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Free
So,
Willy.
but I've worked with them forever, and
What was that, Michael?
Like,
He didn't say that.
It's a Free Willy.
it is.
Let in all the fish.
It was a mess. But we've helped them catch their fish for their ponds for their broodstock trout. We went out 2 years ago and we caught 120 trout that were taken to the Mariculture Center, and they produced over 300,000 fish that were released back in not just Citrus County but the Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
And lastly, we talked with Brandon. We did, staff, with recommendation, we did, budget for our silver package for the 18K. We felt like all three levels were pretty good, but just where we were, from an economic standpoint, we felt like this was a good push to still keep into the silver package and see how it goes next year with some of his changes and updates what he's doing with the program. So we're excited about that, and we're looking forward to moving on with the partnership.
Okay. So staff recommendation is silver?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yep.
Board?
And budgeted for, and more.
Anyone?
I really would like to see us go platinum. I think that, to be honest, that when y'all did the first tranche at 18, I thought, wow, that's, a lot of money that primarily drives his own business, but it isn't. And it's the kind of thing, again, the conservation angle, there's so many angles that are covered, and it gives us some opportunities to look at placing ads that are really gonna get a lot of effect. So I would like to see us go with the platinum package.
The issue is that the budget's already, we would have to cut something, so what do you want to cut?
Yeah, so when we look at this, Max.
Because our numbers have dropped.
Yeah,
a
when
lot.
we look at this from a staff standpoint, we
Because
look
I'm
at our
all for
budget.
platinum too, by the way, but yeah.
Yeah, when we look at this from a budget standpoint from a year, especially with our marketing and advertising efforts, we have to look at it from not a silo, I guess. So this is just truly one of the 10 probably programs that we're running. So it's just one of those things where, we're trying to kind of catch lightning in a bottle. We do feel that the silver package, we don't feel like we're missing out on anything by going with silver. I will say that.
In that case, then I hope next year we'll do an ROI of those 10.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, and we see they're all good. You're
100%.
doing great, but in terms of true local return, I would like to see it rack and stack.
Yeah.
And maybe set a goal, do platinum next year.
And also think, Max, what we'll also be able to do is keep in mind, we'll talk about this more in my presentation, the strategic planning that we'll be doing this year will be huge. So let's not forget about that, So this is going to be a long play in our efforts in regards to our 3 to 5 year roadmap. That's it.
How many housing, I know in housing, we lost a year's worth of housing stock. What was the percentage of hotel rooms that we lost? Plantation's a huge hit.
So Plantation's about 14% of the
Yeah.
market. Kings Bay Lodge, so when we add both of those two and then half of Paddle Tails is down a little bit still. So we're right at that 21, 22% tile range. Now, here's the thing, we did see an uptick in occupancy because of, residential, people staying in our local hotels. So it's kind of it's going to be interesting to see how it all kind of comes out. So we hope for our occupancy to go up, on average, even though we're missing those rooms. So, but it's going to hurt us, that's for sure.
Yeah, so we just don't know what our bed tax is gonna be. I want you to feel the love, Brandon.
Yeah, absolutely. No, 100%.
It's just, everything's gonna be a
100%.
little
No, I
tight.
totally get it. Trust me,
for a
I'm
bit.
seeing it myself too. I mean,
We're all feeling it.
Yeah.
So my own personal company's feeling it too,
Yep.
so I get it.
But our biggest, one of the things though that is actually, it's really bad, but it's not, is my people were having to go stay at hotels and still are just because of almost all the VRBOs and stuff that are on the water. They're single story houses. They got smashed. So a lot of the people right now are going to stay at hotels, and hopefully we'll see that climb come back and people are going to want to come spend money with us again. And I was telling Michael, I think what's it's gonna benefit the northern town. Cedar Key North got smashed, so I think our spring's gonna be very, very good because all these towns don't have things to do. Their housing is just, I mean, it's bad.
Decimated, I think
we
is the word.
We traveled the whole west coast of Florida serving meals after the hurricane. I think we served just shy of 5,000 meals, and we got to see it firsthand, and we got lucky. I mean, we got it bad, but we got lucky. It's really, really sad up to the north of us. So
Yeah.
I think the people that traveled to Steenahatchee, Keaton, Horseshoe, that went there to travel for the springtime fishing or springtime just in general are going to come south this year. They're going to have to. So I think that's going to really help us this year.
Yeah, I never left the county since I was on emergency management, but I've talked to some of my fellow commissioners. One of the Taylor County commissioners was at advanced certification 2 for county commission with Institute for County Government a couple weeks ago, and just the look on his face.
Yeah, it's
when he was
still.
talking about the devastation in Taylor County is just
Yeah.
horrific, so.
Yep, it's really, really bad. But it's gonna push people here, which is a good thing for us, really bad for them. But I think
Yeah.
we'll see a really good spring into the first of winter and spring they're gonna be coming our way.
Yeah, okay.
I just want to say, if I can.
Of course, Misty.
I've
Mindy,
known
sorry.
Brendan his whole life, pretty much, watched him grow up, and I just have to say how proud I am and what a great young man. I hope that, today's my last meeting, of course, but I hope that the council considers going platinum with him next year, because he truly is a blessing to this community. His dad was as well, and I'm just, kudos
Thank
to you, Brendan.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it.
100%.
Thank you, Minnie. I do want you to at least feel the love.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And the support. Anyone else? Wanna make a motion?
Yeah, last weekend.
Yeah.
Small one.
Brandon won a fishing tournament this past weekend.
I wanna
Oh,
talk about
congrats.
Sorry, Terry.
Huh, what?
I move that we approve the silver sponsorship package and recommend approval of the package to the Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jackie Hepner, second by Max Schulman. Any further board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next year.
Thank y'all very much. I greatly appreciate it.
All right.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good seeing you guys again another year. I'm glad we're finally getting back on the upswing of things after the hurricanes. I know my business is seeing it on our side of the county. It just is, we got lucky, but on our side, and I'm real happy to see everything starting to come together now, and fishing's been great on our areas on the lakes. So for those of you who don't know me, I've been here 6 years now. I'm thankful for everything you guys have, helped out with, and the partnership has been amazing. My name's Chris Kingery. I'm born and raised here in Citrus County. I was born in Crystal River, and I've grown my family here. I own 44 Tackle in Inverness. As Jackie has always said, her son Sam shops, or son-in-law Sam stops by all the time. We give him a hard time. But, I'm really thankful to be here. I've lived, a brief time in Maryland for a couple years in high school, and I've got lucky and traveled all over the country and seen a lot of different places and seen where I could live other than here, and I still would choose here every time. So, I'm proud to be a local Citrus County resident and growing my family here. I've got a 14-year-old son and my wife of 15 years yesterday. So it's been a great experience to grow up here. And so I travel on the Bassmaster Opens, which is the qualifying lead for the Bassmaster Elite Series. For the last 6 years, I've run the Discover Crystal River boat. Some updates from this year that were unexpected was, I got on with Skeeter this year, and I'll be representing the national Skeeter team going forward for 2025. I got into a lot of different things last year through Apopka Marine in Inverness. They were a great help getting everything. Joe Bago went out to bat for me and got me in there with Skeeter and said that it needed to happen due to my relations in the Central Florida area. And it's been a great relationship for more than just a boat relationship and a dealer relationship to bring people to the county for boat sales. The thing that I've targeted this year and every year has always been the message that we have in our area. In previous years when a lot of people were making reservations, and Terry and I talked to them at ICAST every year, they'd make reservations south of us, and then when Red Tide came through, we were the directors to say, well, we're open, we got plenty of room. And so shifting their plans from, just a convention in Orlando to making plans over our way was pretty pivotal that year. And then, just being able to go from here, this year was my biggest travel year of all. It was 9 tournaments, a lot of time on the road, roughly 100 days on the road this year. And I've been to Oklahoma 3 times this year, as well as Minnesota, Wisconsin, and we didn't really do much on the East this year, which was actually great because in previous years we've gone up the East Coast almost every year. And it was cool to see a new audience that I hadn't seen before. And a lot of people in Minnesota and Wisconsin were very aware of our area. And it's really hard with the way my truck looks and boat looks and all that stuff to even stop at a gas station. My wife went on a trip with me this year, and I got out to go pump gas. And every gas station, there's not one time that we've stopped where I haven't been able to, talk to somebody about our area just based on the recognition. They knew what it was, or they've had family members that have lived here. So it really sparks a conversation that wouldn't be had on, and after this, the strew of storms that we've had, this is a great opportunity for this coming year to, tell everybody we're open for business. We're ready to, take their vacations with us, or be their vacation from the vacation, as we said before, when they're in Orlando. And so as a link, I've also traveled with several people that are our partners in Lake County. Tim Frederick, he's a good friend of mine, and we kind of work towards the Central Florida area together. And those guys have been really good to, kind of partner up with in our marketing efforts to get people to our area. So this year, we in our 9 tournaments, we've had some wins this year. As 44 Tackle has had the reference as well. We've got 2 people fishing the Bassmaster Classic this coming year, representing 44 Tackle. The branding that we have done for 44 Tackle is almost synonymous with this area for the freshwater side. We are actually one of 3 major freshwater stores in the state of Florida. So it's highly recognized to the point where we're having brands come to us to represent them on our shelves as if Walmart was. So now we've kind of shifted our merchandising models at our store. And it's always been one of those areas where we've kind of been like the welcome center on the east side of the county. When people come into our store, they don't just ask for fishing tips or where to go fish, but it turns into, well, what's your favorite restaurant? What's your favorite place to stay? What do you know anybody with Airbnbs in the area? There's a lot of different things that go into running that store, and I'm sure that happens over in Crystal River with Sodium and the other stores as well. And we really, all of our employees pride themselves on being, born and raised here, and we've been lucky to have people that have been born and raised here and really know about the area. And they're all tournament fishermen, so they give some of the best advice there is to everybody all over the country. And that comes through from our online sales as well, because we're one of the only tackle companies online at this point that actually you can really have a conversation with somebody on the phone, because the person on the phone is not just a call center representative. It's somebody that really works in the store and fishes every week, every weekend, and has a pulse on the trends that are going. And so they call us not just for, to buy things. It's about true recommendations from real people. And so that's what we've done with our business going forward, and that's what our reputation has portrayed to the rest of the country. On the fishing side of things, everything this year, was not par in the standings. It's a highly competitive field right now, and we've got a lot of great relationships across the board. This year I did something a little bit different to pilot a series for our guys on the road. We did 44 tackle team to the Bassmaster Elite Series events this year. And so we've got 9 episodes airing on YouTube just to try it out as a pilot. We've had a really good response on our first 5 episodes we put up. They're 30 to 45 minute episodes, and have covered, basically our travels on the road. And you guys can see them on our 44 tackle page, YouTube page, and catch up on those. But we have some really cool guys on our team. We surround ourselves with some great personalities. And every year we put ourselves in the position to have somebody win a Bassmaster Open, as well as go to the Bassmaster Classic. So this year I will actually be presenting at the Bassmaster Classic with a booth on behalf of 44 Tackle. It'll be in Lake Ray Roberts in Texas, in Fort Worth, Texas. So we will be traveling out there to do that and represent it. And I think in the future, a Bassmaster Classic Expo may be something to look at. Even if you guys replaced ICAST with that, I know ICAST is actually a great event, but ICAST is more of a B2B event, whereas the Bassmaster Classic is going to have 3 times the attendees along with the consumer traffic mostly. So you've got a lot of different elements there, and that may be something to explore in the future. And Office and I have kind of talked with a couple of plans that, we wanted to strategize later this year to look at things like that are new opportunities to present as well. And some other things as far as a web series that kind of is a better way to approach our businesses in Citrus County and be a little bit more focused towards the elements, to where I've been doing podcasts and lives on YouTube as well as Instagram and TikTok a lot. And something that we're going to do this year is start a web series as a pilot that will focus on strictly businesses in our area. That, it's basically a podcast approach on a, fishing show. The fishing is just the background distortion noise, but the true information of getting to know that person and their business and what they bring to the county and where they've come from. And I think that's going to be a great educational version. And we're looking to do 12 episodes for our first year on that. And we run very lean on what we do. So I try to always, with our production, we were able to do this year on the road and take somebody on the road with us all year. And I think we're going to translate that to something local this year as well. And we will continue that series as well. But it's been a great year, meeting a lot of people and seeing new places. Put about 35,000 miles on the truck this year, so there's a lot of impressions there to be had over the whole U.S. TikTok has been, and as I had mentioned, some that don't know, I had to restart my Facebook 2 years ago. From the 5,000 to 6,000 followers I had somebody hack my account to where we weren't able to recover it. Due to the nature of the way they had it banned. But so my Facebook and Instagram numbers had to be basically reset. And I know this isn't the most impressive numbers of thousands and hundreds of numbers that you could think of, but on the other side, I've always been a networker and somebody that keeps myself invested in the industries I'm in. And, the fishing industry is very small but very big. And I try to keep myself in the right circles to keep moving forward. Those are some media shots that were on between Bassmaster.com as well as social, and also video screenshots from some things that we did this year. This year I was lucky enough to team up with a company named Dynamic Sponsorships, who does all of the marketing for Yamaha and Toyota. So they will be on board this year as one of my featured partners as well. And with that, what I have to do is basically work registration at every event this year, that going forward to promote the Toyota Bonus Bucks contingency program and the Yamaha Power Pay contingency programs for them. So this is how I show up to all those events, So it's some new exposure this year. And something else that I was able to do this year was at the Bassmaster Elite Series events, Skeeter had tasked me with doing demo rides at these events. So my boat was present and my truck was present at the Harris Chain and St. Johns River event this year. The St. Johns River event this year was one of the largest Elite Series events because Rick Clunn retired this year after 50 years of fishing with bass. And that was a pretty monumental deal. So there was roughly 10 to 15,000 people on site at the St. Johns River for that event. And coincidentally enough, the other demo drivers were not there that were supposed to be there. So I was the only one that gave 37 demo drives in about 6 hours, so over 3 days. So I got to meet a lot of cool people, even people in tourism over in Putnam County. And it was a really cool thing this year. And we're going to be expanding that this year with Skeeter to work. I'll most likely be at 6 of the 9 Elite Series events doing some sort of demo rides or working the Skeeter Yamaha booth at those events. So it's going to be a busy year going this year, and I just wanted to stop by and give you guys an update. This was my schedule this year. They just released the new schedule last week, so I apologize for not having an updated schedule for when we had this the information cut off there, but they've actually changed it. Previously, it was going to be, last year was 3 divisions, and if you finished in the top 9 of points at the end of the year, then you made the Bassmaster Elite Series, but you had to fish all 9. This year, they're changing it to where they're doing 2 divisions of 4 tournaments each, which will qualify you to a final 3 tournaments. So that'll be in the next, now the entry fees and all that stuff are still the same from doing 1 division and making the final 3 tournaments for a total of 7. So this year, everybody I've kind of talked to, we're kind of in the impression that we will be doing 4 qualifying tournaments and then to make the top 50 in points, to qualify for the last 3, which then will allow you to fish against 100 other boats instead of 250 boats. So it cuts the field down quite a bit, and then you finish in the top 10 in those points. So they don't have any Florida tournaments this year, which is great for you guys in a way, because now it's completely structured on everything outside of Florida. The Florida events that I've heard that could be potential would be in the fall for those last 3 events. They haven't released those dates or any of the information of where they're going to be because they're trying to start a no information rule is what they call it, because there was plenty of outrage on social media this year with different things about rules and things like that kind of went through. So they're trying to make it a little bit more of a level playing field. So these are some things that I work on. We are kicking off the People Fishing podcast again this year, which basically talks to random people throughout the industry and isn't really focused on current news, but focused on getting to know the people in the industry. And we're trying to raise some direction for the upcoming class of high school and college anglers, because as a business owner, I get probably 3 to 5 sponsor requests a day via our marketing efforts. So when somebody sees that there's somebody with our logo plastered on their hat or across their chest in an Elite Series event or the Classic or winning an event, I get a lot of phone calls and texts. But the thing that we're trying to help is to help them with their career approach to fishing and give them the correct knowledge that they need to not make a financial mistake with their life and help guide their parents as well. Just knowing what I know at, the levels I've been involved with and the people that I work with. So that's something that we're trying to get out via social media and things like that to kind of help people. I'm very active on TikTok lives and things like that. It's been very, very good to do the live broadcasts in general, just because we can answer questions on the spot for people that have been looking for immediate information that don't want to go search for it. There's a lot of that where people want to know. I get phone calls about random things all the time that people could search themselves, just like I'm going to search for them, and that's what we do on our live videos. But I just I'm just here for getting you guys an update, and we're looking forward to another year, and everything will look exactly the same this year for Crystal River or Citrus County Tourism.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone have any comments, questions?
Amazing.
Yeah, I got one question. We talked about this before, Chris, when Chris came by the office. What is the appetite or the likelihood where we can look into a Bassmaster, one of those coming to like Henderson? You know,
So the lakes locally would not hold the amount of boats. So it's a 104 boat field for the Bassmaster Elite Series. Now we do have something. I was approached, and I brought that to your attention as well. We were approached to hold the Bassmaster College bracket. And that's something that I've been working with Bassmaster on to come up with the logistics of what they need first before we get you in touch with them. They basically the college series Bassmaster bracket, classic bracket, is 12 teams of college anglers. So we would be able to actually host something like that with a 12 boat field a lot better. And they would actually, they like the idea of our lakes because of the features of the lakes versus the typical lakes that they've been going to, the big water lakes. And the reason why is because of the new technologies. There's been a lot of outrage on social media over the amount of electronics and what it costs to get into fishing and things like that. And so when people see people looking at their screens all day and not what they call fishing, they're looking for ways to diversify these tournaments to where it's not 100% reliant on electronics. And our lakes actually provide for a lot of that through the Solid Popka chain. So that's why we make a great fit for that event. And their needs and logistics are actually not very bad for what they're offering. And I think it's something that we should probably look into this year.
Yeah, I remember I told Chris too, when I was in South Carolina in Rock Hill, we hosted the college series, and it was pretty cool. It was like University of Florida, Miami, all these major colleges with their legit fishing teams and everything. University of Alabama, and they had pretty much shirts just like him, but the Alabama team had the Roll Tide A on it, and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool, and it was forget how many boats it was, but it was definitely worthwhile. It's kind of cool, kind of getting that college atmosphere into your town.
In that event, it'd be probably around 200, 250 boats. In this case, the way their bracket works is this is the last event of their year, like before, and the winner of that event goes to the Bassmaster Classic as a college angler. So that's a big deal for TV time that they offer, and I believe it is live on FS1 as well. So that's a big part of it, and I want to say they said it was like 20 to 25,000 is what they look for an event plus housing was kind of what they had told me.
Yeah, so usually how the sports, and again, this would be a part of our strategic planning as well, but usually sports, anything in sports, you're going to have a sports bid.
Yeah.
And anytime you're dealing with TV, it's going to be a little bit higher, but it just comes with the territory. So you pay that 25,000, bid fee, and then of course they have some other things of like, hey, you have to kind of provide us this many hotel rooms for staff and stuff like that.
And one thing they had asked me about as a follow-up question is if there was a good area to, one, put a stage, two, for the weigh-in, and two, is there enough room for a 1,500 to 2,500 audience? And I said Liberty Park is designed perfectly for that with the concerts and everything that's been going on. It'd be the perfect backdrop for the whole deal. Plenty of parking, plenty of room. And I think it'd be a great area to do all of those things.
And then we can have the Cove to cater the event, maybe something like that.
That's just like Bike Week in Daytona brings tourism all over, and we've just become the beneficiary of that in Inverness. When you go to Kenwood or you go to Palatka and see the crowds that are there, having that 44 logo, having the Discovered Crystal River, those folks that are like you said, Minnesota, Wisconsin, they ask and they want to find places to go fish that everybody else isn't fishing, especially when they take an actual vacation or when they tell their friends where to go. So there's a spillover that we got to get into the strategic plan on how to advertise at those places that draw people to Florida, and how we can get them to don't just come to Florida, come to Citrus County, Florida.
I can tell you right now, the weigh-ins, they're like a WWE event.
Yeah.
It's like WrestleMania on steroids.
Out of all the weigh-ins we've been to the last 5 years, Minnesota, we were in Walker, Minnesota at Leech Lake this year, And that was the biggest event that town has ever had. The casino in town fronted all the money to make sure that they came to town. And there's really not a whole lot in that town, except some really great people and a nice little old style town. Looks very like downtown Inverness, and it's a really cool place. And I think in a town of 900 people, we had over 5,000 people at weigh-in. So I don't know where everybody came from, but it was it was a huge weigh-in. It made us feel like we were really like, you know, at the Classic almost, and you come off stage and there wasn't one. They didn't care who it was. Everybody had to give autographs. It was a wild experience, you know, for that level. But we've had some really cool experiences this year like that.
The other thing too is in terms of businesses, and both of these gentlemen, you know, are the epitome of what we call in Inverness, small town done right, small business done right, competing with, you know, Bassmasters and these, where, like you said, you don't get real experts, you don't get people that know the local areas. They represent us really well. And in the philosophy that every move begins with a visit, the folks that they bring are the kind of people that will fit in here well and help us to continue to grow, but to grow in a way that protects who we are. So,
Yep.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
All right, item D3.
Oh, there she is. Okay, good.
Hey, everybody, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm really wishing I was in Florida right now. It's 40 degrees in Minnesota, but I appreciate the shout outs for Minnesota from the last two presenters. That's absolutely fun. So the next item on the agenda is to talk through some quick flowchart changes that we made to this current flowchart for fiscal year 25. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. There we go. So essentially the quick change that we made to the fiscal year 25 flowchart is we wanted to make some room for a full page ad in the Visit Florida official vacation guide. And as you can see, we did the creative for it. It's right here. It's going to look beautiful. This guide is being printed, I believe, in early December. So you should have it, have a copy very soon. But essentially what we did, there are no changes to the overall media spend for fiscal year 25. We just added $16,934 for the full page ad, and we slightly reduced the spend in display native, slightly reduced SEM, and then ad serving as well, which is essentially the platform that connects the Google Campaign Manager to your ads for measurement. So that's really the summary of the charges. We're just looking for approval on version 4 of the flow chart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe I want to make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jackie Heffner, second by Luann. Yes, Jacobs. Any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, D4.
4, that is still me. So next we're gonna go over, we're gonna go back in time a little bit, and we're gonna go through some top level highlights of the fiscal year 24 campaign, all your campaigns that ran in fiscal year 24. So I'm gonna spew a lot of data at you. I'm gonna try to talk through this quickly, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to stop me along the way. Do one more screen share here. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Here we go. Okay. Everybody see this okay?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So we will begin. I will go over a quick overview of our targeting and overall media strategy for fiscal year 24, and then I will go down the list of all the campaigns that we ran. And again, if you guys have questions, just feel free to stop me along the way. So going into the overview, overall our media objectives were to increase brand awareness for Citrus County as a destination. And then we move them further down that funnel by further engaging with them and pushing them to your website content and social properties, so your Facebook and Instagram pages. And then finally, we push them down to the conversion level. So that is measured by actual visitation to Citrus County and ultimately increasing visitor spend. And in terms of targeting, so these are the behaviors, the online behaviors that we're looking for when we're reaching our audience. So we prioritize travel intenders overall, and then we layer on the geographic markets and behavioral attributes. And for Citrus County, that means that we're targeting those nature enthusiasts, people focused on ecotourism, outdoor adventures, family travelers, and road trippers. And then there's some information about the demographics on the side. However, we do emphasize these behaviors are trending to be more important than necessarily the demographics, because it could be really anybody.
Question.
And
on the household income, is there a range above 75K? Because I guess I'm thinking if people are coming here spending $400 for, you know, a half day worth of activities, be it fishing or vanity tours for a family, is that really sufficient? Or, you know, is there a higher range that we should look at?
so really, I mean, the baseline that we look at is over 75K of an average household income, but I would say a cap might be around 200,000 per year. But again, we're focusing less on this household income, the average household income, and we're focusing more on these behaviors that people tend to search for when they're looking for their next vacation destination.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so just a recap of the geo markets from fiscal year 24. We sort of consider this as our baseline year to learn which markets were performing the best. So for fiscal year 24, we focused on Miami, Atlanta, Orlando, Tampa, Dallas, Philadelphia, the upstate New York area, including Buffalo and Rochester, and then Chicago, Illinois. A quick overview of all the campaign tactics. Again, I'll go into performance on each of these, but we had a really well-rounded campaign last year with display, native, broadcast. We had some print buys, digital partnerships, paid social, so ads on Facebook and Instagram. We did paid search or SEM, and then we also threw in a custom content partnership, which I will get into. And then just a quick recap of how we measure the performance on each of these different campaigns. So for awareness-focused campaigns, we're looking at things like the view completion rates, partner site engagement, so that's your content on other sites, overall reach, and then brand lift. And then we move them further down the funnel by engaging with that audience, and we measure that by looking at page views on your website, overall website engagement, in-unit engagement. So again, that means like if there's custom content on a website, we look to see like how much time somebody is spending on that content. And then we also look at things like e-newsletter signups and visitor guide signups for Citrus County. And then finally, at the bottom of the funnel, we're looking at those response measurements. So things like the Zartico data is huge. We look into searches and click-through rates, and then economic impact reports whenever possible. Great. So now I'll get into the performance of each of the campaigns. And again, if you guys have questions, just feel free to stop me. So we'll start by going into the digital partnerships. So I have the first one here is the standard display ads. And I've listed the benchmarks up here. These are industry benchmarks that we try to either meet or exceed for each campaign. So for standard display, our benchmark is a 0.05 click-through rate and a $10 cost per click. And so for overall fiscal year 24, we had over 10.4 million impressions with over 14,000 clicks, and that provided a click-through rate of 0.14% and a very low cost per click at $3.59. From the standard display ads, we had 83,000 conversions, which is a pretty strong conversion rate at 0.80% and very low cost per conversion as well. And then the top performing creative was the biking and scalloping ad with over 8.3 thousand conversions, which I thought was great. For your native placements, so native advertising works in a way where we submit the copy and the image, and then whatever website it is shown on, it is made to look like editorial content on that website. So that usually tends to drive up engagement, which is great. So with your native placements, we had over 9.8 million impressions with 13,000 clicks, garnering a 0.13 click-through rate and $4.18 cost per click. We had over 42,000 conversions with a 0.43% conversion rate and a $1.27 cost per conversion. And then the top performing creative is this kayaking image. I believe this is Three Sister Springs, and it just looks absolutely stunning, so I'm not surprised. For the share through enhanced display, again, these are display ads, but these are shown a little bit differently than standard display. Share through ads will have a headline above the ad, above the banner ad, to just take up more real estate on the page and hopefully encourage more engagement and conversions. So we had 6.3 million impressions of these ads with 4,200 clicks, garnering a click-through rate of 0.07 and a $7.51 cost per click. And then for these ones, we had 21,000 conversions with a conversion rate of 0.34% and a $1.48 cost per conversion. And then we had more display ads, but in a different format. So the WonderKind high impact display. So these ones work a little bit differently. WonderKind uses a special technology on their websites that they serve ads, and they can actually measure user behavior on a website, and they can see when someone is finished reading the content that they were on that web page to read. And when a user is finished with that web content, then it will deliver the ad. So hopefully encouraging more engagement and conversions there. So for WonderKind, we had 1.5 million impressions with 16,200 clicks. That's a pretty high click-through rate at 1.06% and a $1.89 cost per click. I'm sorry, there's a typo there. It's cost per click. With conversions, we had 21,300 conversions with a conversion rate of 0.81% and $2.47 cost per conversion. And then just a quick summary of the programmatic media performance. You can see here the top designated market areas by most conversions. You can see here, I won't necessarily read off all of these cities, but you can see the geo markets that were performing the highest in terms of conversions, and then the top audience segments by most conversions here as well. So yeah, as you can see, like, we got our targeting right. This is what this is showing to us, is that the targeting was accurate, and we take this into account for fiscal year 25 as well. Okay, moving down the list. So we ran a remarketing display campaign through Visit Florida. This was a Visit Florida co-op in fiscal year 24. And what I thought was most impressive is that this campaign only was 1 month, and yet we still garnered 1.6 million impressions with over 1,400 clicks. And then we had 3,222 conversions as well. So again, really impressive numbers for a 1 month campaign. And we will continue to consider Visit Florida co-ops in the future because we thought this was a great value for you guys. We also did a partnership with Sojourn. So we ran display and native placements through Sojourn. I have some examples of the display ads that ran. And with Sojourn, what is super unique about Sojourn is that they offer the economic impact reports with those ads, and that is something that we are continuing in fiscal year 25. So with Sojourn, we had over 7.9 million impressions and then 32,400 conversions. But again, what is super impressive with Sojourn is that we can actually measure economic impact of people who have seen these ads and actually came to visit the destinations. So through Sojourn, we can say with 100% certainty that there were 3,776 travelers, 224 room nights, with over $1.8 million in total economic impact for Citrus County. And we'll get a little bit further into that data. So with Sojourn, your display ads led with the most searches, but native ads converted the most bookings. And we can tell you that the average lead time for booking a trip to Citrus County was 33.6 days, and the average length of stay was 2.3 days, which I thought was very interesting. And I also like the top 10 most booked dates. As you can see, we have dates from October. It's encouraging to see dispersion through visitation. So it's not just heavily focused on one time of year. It's really encouraging to see that Citrus County is seen as a destination that people want to visit all year round. That's it on Sojourn. Next, I'll get into, we ran a custom content partnership with Atlas Obscura, and I figured I have some screenshots on the next slide so you can see what the creative looks like. But overall, Atlas Obscura, they wrapped up their campaign at the end of September, and they're working on the full campaign report. But we did get some top-level highlights from their team that are showing very positive results. So with Atlas Obscura, we ran a feature itinerary with destinations and stops all around Citrus County. We added 5 new places on the Atlas Obscura map. So if you guys are curious, feel free to take a Google search of the Atlas map. They have places all over the world. And we've added 5 new stops in Citrus County. We also ran a custom list, and then all of those pieces of content were promoted on Atlas Obscura's social channels, email distributions, and then they had some run-of-site display ad as well. And then the thing that's super impressive with Atlas Obscura is that the custom itinerary, which included the stops all around Citrus County, had an on-site engagement rate of 83%, which is 17% higher than the industry average. So that's super encouraging to see. And then the social components, the average engagement rate was almost 2.5 times higher than the average for the travel industry. So again, really great to see that those amazing numbers. And then the run-of-site display ads delivered 2.7 million impressions with 7,445 conversions. I've got some screenshots of some of the content. This is not all of it, but again, this is all live online right now, so you guys can take a look after this meeting if you are curious to see. Okay. So next I'll get into SEM or Google search campaign. So you guys are familiar, Google made quite a few switches between 2023 and 2024 with their Google Analytics, and they switched over to Google Analytics 4, GA4. So that does impact the way that we measure SEM performance. So while in the past we used to focus really heavily on this click-through rate, I think now what we're heavily focusing on is this conversion rate with SEM, so that is something to keep in mind. But essentially through Google search, this is serving your ads when people are searching for things related to Crystal River to make sure that your content pops up first on those Google searches. So for overall, for SEM, we had 608,402 impressions with 81,000 clicks. That's a click-through rate of 13.35%. So again, that's a pretty high click-through rate in general, and we're pleased to see that. The cost per click was $0.34, and then we had 64,894 conversions, giving us a conversion rate of 30.95 conversions. And I've got some screenshot examples here of things that you might see. And again, we're running SEM on every Google platform. So that's not just Google search itself, but that also includes ads on platforms like Gmail or YouTube, which is owned by Google. Great. And then overall, this is just a recap of SEM performance. So you can see the numbers of conversions or key events. These are things that we are measuring when we look at SEM performance. So contact us submissions, email signups, event submissions, visitor guide requests, and then the partner referrals. So that's people clicking on your partner ads on discovercrystalriverflorida.com. And then we're also looking at website engagement. So that's people visiting 3 or more pages per web session when they're on your website, and then the time spent on your website. And as you can see, like with all these, with these great conversions, time on site is greater than 3 minutes and 4 minutes. That is really encouraging to see. That means people are likely clicking through to multiple pages on your website, and they're really diving deep into the content. So kudos to the Discover Crystal River team for keeping that website content up to date and engaging. So going further into it, you can also see the top performing geo-markets for conversions. So again, really well dispersed. We have Florida as the top, but then we also have Georgia, New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia on there. And then some of these top keywords for clicks and for click-through rate. So again, these are the keywords that people are searching on Google, and these are the things that are providing the top amounts of clicks and click-through rates. Cool. So going into paid social, some just top-level highlights from your ads on Facebook and Instagram. The benchmark here is a 1% click-through rate. And overall, the impressions for fiscal year 24 were over 15.6 million impressions, and we had 197,000 landing page views with that click-through rate of 1.44%. We saw great post engagements with 307 post engagements. That's people liking and commenting on the post itself. And then the top 3 creatives was the cuisine ad, so food and drink in Citrus County, the manatees, and then again the paddling images. Cool. Moving down the list, we did a digital partnership. It was a bronze level sponsorship with Outpost Media, and that included your logo on their homepage as well as a banner ad on the website and a directory listing. And then we also had the content creator, Rachel Cavello, come into market, and she did short form video reels created in the destination that were shared on her social media channels. That includes Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. She also did a number of Instagram carousels. She did multiple stories per day when she was in market. And then they also created a travel guide that was posted on outpost.com. And that is so if anybody sees the content and wants to recreate that visit, they can check out the travel guide to view that itinerary. And overall, the impressions were 256,475. And then there are links to view each of the articles in this deck if any of you guys are curious to see the content after this presentation. I just have a few screenshots here of some of the social content that she produced. I thought she did a great job. Okay. We also ran a digital partnership with OrlandoAttractions.com. So this is for the UK audience, and this featured that you guys had a partner feature page on OrlandoAttractions.com as well as blog posts. And overall, the impressions were 15,802 with 3,790 page views. That's it for the digital partnerships. We'll get into some of the broadcast partnerships next. So I'm not going to play these videos because screen sharing and the videos, they tend to not work very well. But again, this deck will be shared with you guys after the meeting if you care to watch them. But we just ran a campaign with standing partnership with real animals that included 2 20-minute episodes, 22-minute episodes, excuse me, and then those were shared on social media. Well, and then we also ran a partnership with WFLA. This was a co-op with their plantation on Crystal River. So with the WeatherCam sponsorship, this drove over 2.8 million impressions and over 11,700 clicks. This is a click-through rate of 0.42%, which is pretty high, and we're excited to see that result. And then a cost per click of $2.08. It also includes a CTV or over-the-top portion of the campaign with over 1.8 completed views with an overall view completion rate of 95.65%. So that is over the industry benchmark of 95%. And then that top geo market for the WFLA WeatherCam was Jacksonville, Florida, with over 231,000 impressions. Again, I'm going to skip through these videos. We also had a partnership with Florida Insider Fishing Report that included 186 hours of airtime from April through September of 2024, and then again some screenshots. And then there's a video here if you guys would like to view it after. And then lastly, we did run some print in fiscal year 24, so I'll run through these really quickly. We had the full page ad in the Good Sam Campground Guide. This creative was submitted before Miles took on the account and we refreshed the creative, so this is the previous campaign. But the distribution was 300,000 guides were printed, and this also included some digital exposure on Good Sam on their website. Next, this is the 2024 Visit Florida Vacation Guide. Again, this creative was due before we refreshed the new creative. So this is what ran for last year. So we're really excited about the new creative this year. But there was over 300,000 of these guides printed, and then over 1 million digital downloads of the Visit Florida Guide. And then lastly, we ran multiple ads in Outdoor Sportsman Group in fiscal year 24. So these are half-page ads, and we were included in the March, April, May, and August. And then overall, the total readers was approximately 680,000 readers across all of these publications. And that is it. I know that's a lot of data. Does anybody have any questions at all?
Board? Any question?
Okay, I just have to ask about the $7 and change click. What do we do when we encounter data like that?
So are you talking about the $7 cost per click?
Yes.
So that is how $7 is well within under the industry benchmark. The industry benchmark for click-through rate is $10 per cost per click. So really what we're doing, if we see that number continuing to increase, then that is when we look closely at the campaign and optimize it to see where we could pull some cost savings. Maybe our targeting is off, or maybe it's time to run a different creative. We also might see a higher cost per click if we just finished up the election season, for example, and that does tend to drive up your cost per clicks. But we will continue to monitor that, but we do see a $7 cost per click is still under the industry benchmark, so we still see that as a very effective use of the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I think we're good.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate the
Hope to
update.
see you guys in person very soon. Yes.
Thanks, Sam.
Stay warm.
Okay, item D5.
Okay, item D5 is, you'll have it in your packets, is the 2025 Board Leadership Symposium. This is an in-state, this actually is in Orlando. This will be an unbudgeted travel. This is something I'm very familiar with. This is pretty much I would like to call it an NBA among board leadership and directors and CEOs. So basically it's for myself and two other TDC members to go along to Orlando and to basically have a deep dive into board leadership. It's a great opportunity because you will be there amongst hundreds of other destinations around the country. We'll have things about governance and community advocacy in regards to workshops, finance accountability, of course, expert facilitated roundtable discussions, public-facing boards. Also talked about finance succession planning, the board diversity, limited liability, liquidity and legal issues, and what else? Gosh, a lot of different things. But no, it's a great opportunity for us, and I just felt that this was something that this board and myself needed to be a part of. I'm not familiar with the board having opportunities like this in the past, and this is just something from an education standpoint and just from a pure, more essential knowledge base that'd be a good opportunity for not only the board but the entire county.
I think it sounds like a good
Yeah.
thing.
It's a great thing, guys. I mean, it's first class all the way, and then the fact that it was just in Orlando, I was like, okay, wow, this is too good not to pass up. So I'm excited about it.
And I am actually free those days, so I can block those out.
Yeah. So again, it'll be for obviously 3 people total. The registration includes, and we'll take care of that out of our. It's a different pool of money when we talk about our conferences and conventions and things of that nature. So no need to worry about that, from a budget standpoint. So we're good there. But I'm excited about that. And again, not to belabor the point, it goes into our strategic planning. It all falls in line.
What are the dates again?
It is January the 29th through the 31st. And in your packet, to Max, we have the agenda in there, the complete layout and description of all the breakout sessions and everything. So it's a great thing.
And show of hands, who would be interested in being the other attendee? Because as chair, I believe I should probably go, so.
Okay.
Unless anyone wants to boot me. I have 3 hands.
4, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4. Any of you? Okay. So how do you determine? Are we
So, ideally, it is for
interpretive dance competition?
right,
Or
right. Ideally, it is for
drawing names out of a hat, or what?
it's for myself, and of course, the board chair would be. You would want to have the board chair go in regards to that second position. We can do a lottery, or there's a couple things. I mean, I don't think this is the only travel that, to be honest with you, that I want some of the TDC a part of going forward. Just for the record, but I can also look into to see if they limit it to 3, or if there's a possibility where we can even add on as well. I'm just not for sure. It's usually just been really 3 people, But in regards to that, we can just kind of look at a lottery, and we can kind of go offline in regards to looking at the schedules and seeing what makes the most sense for everyone, and then we can kind of do a rotation going forward as well. Got to start somewhere.
If you 4 could check your dates and make sure that you're available to go.
And now that I know the
let
4,
August take over.
can you? I think Kelly, one of you guys, just let me know who the 4 are. Just write them down for me, and I'll get with you guys individually, and we can kind of talk about it and see what we can kind of do, not only with this particular conference and opportunity, but with others as well.
Sounds good. So we're,
So need a motion?
yep, need a motion.
Yes.
I move approval for 3 individuals to attend the 2025 Board Leadership Symposium from January 29th to 31st, 2025.
Okay, Jackie Hepner, what's the second? Who? Ah, thank you, Mindy. All right,
Okay.
any further board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, moving on to D6. We have to take care of this first. This is our bylaws. It's it's the bylaws to recommend adoption of the updated TDC bylaws to the Board of County Commissioners. This is to change our bylaws language from a monthly to a bi-monthly meeting, so we need to get that approved first before we go on to the actual dates. What we've done from our last meeting and discussion, we will be moving to a bi-monthly meeting slate. That information is also in the packet about the months. They're going to be on an odd number of months. I took into note Max's consideration in regards to our budget. We kind of all felt like things were kind of shoved down us a little quickly, in regards to not having enough time. So instead of doing that back to back, what we'll do is we'll present the budget in that July meeting, and then we'll have, a month and a half to digest everything with questions and everything, and then we'll move forward with September for approval, as like we normally would. But that'll give us plenty of time to alleviate that concern that you had the last time. But other than that, as regards to D6, is just to approve and recommend the adoption of that bylaw change.
My only other concern is back-to-back hurricanes this year. You guys might want our support to pivot from that. So if one of these gets derailed, we should move it to the following month.
Yes, and we have that flexibility in there as well. And then also too, with decision making, this year was a great, I don't want to say I use the word great, but we were able to, I was able to speak with Steve Howard, our county administrator, and with his declaration, we were able to move some things very quickly without, that board. But we can definitely have that in there.
Yeah,
Yep, it's not a problem.
okay. Is everybody okay with that? Somebody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Max Schulman, second by Jackie Hepner. Is there, you have a look on your face.
Yeah, I'm lukewarm. Looking at today's agenda, and I think if we go to an every other month, we're setting up ourselves for fairly lengthy meetings with healthy gaps. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't here in September because of other commitments, so it's been 3 months for me. And I think from a public standpoint, being able to say it's every month on, the second, Wednesday, is fine versus, oh, no, it's not this month, it's next month. I'm kind of lukewarm. I mean, I'd rather have a more consistent schedule personally. I understand the bureaucracy and the prep side of it. I don't know if there's any latitude on some of the requirements for the agenda, et cetera, to lessen that. But I don't know. I'm just lukewarm about it every other month. And then if you end up not being able to make one for some reason, it's a real long gap between meetings.
I'll say this to your point, Mike. So this is something that, again, just with history, I've, had some experience in the past with, and it's really worked out just from a time management standpoint. Number two, this is, we're definitely not the only Florida destination that are doing it this way. I mean, some are doing quarterly, but I'm like, okay, we're definitely not ready for that. And also in the off months, we will still be providing the packets of information. So it's not like we're going without the information. So we're still going to be providing the packets of information, our numbers and things of that nature, as you see here, from that standpoint, to alleviate some of that heartburn I'm gonna use in regards to that disconnect that you might feel with the even months. So we'll still provide that information in our packets as well, if that helps any.
I'm a little lukewarm too, I sit on so many boards and,
Right.
I have one board that's quarterly and literally I will drive an hour to get there and I think I gavelled it in and gavelled it out in 13 minutes last time for an hour each way, and that's even quarterly. The flip side of that is that we pretty reliably go to 2 hours every month with this meeting. So that's a lot that means we're actually processing quite a lot of information, But I hear you, but I'm not necessarily against it,
Understand.
I'm lukewarm,
Understand.
same as Mike. Any other thoughts? I liked what Mike said about, is there other ways to reduce the bureaucracy?
I wish it was. It's just really not. And what's with our staff, and we're kind of trim now. It's we find ourselves to, I don't want to say we're having a meeting to plan another meeting. Kind of so much. So it's not so much that it's this meeting. It's the other obligations that come along with it. So, we're not trying to short side or give the TDC the short end of the stick, but just to provide, I would say actually more meaningful matter. And I would say this, if you guys can, graciously allow this to happen, this year and see how it works. This is not like it's not a point of no return. So I think we can make it work as a joint effort. So that's just my thoughts on that.
I have a history of more or less always going with what staff recommends, although I will ask hard questions.
100%.
That need to be answered before I'll go along with it.
100%, yeah. But we're definitely willing to do in those even months, like I said, we'll definitely provide that, like, there won't be an information gap. Will the meetings bleed a little bit longer? Yes, that's a potential. Just like, for example, today, we missed a meeting for the hurricane and we had, kind of 7 things, 8 things on the agenda. where we kind of had to go through. So and some of that things have happened, but I think also it gives us opportunity to digest more information and to be more productive from a mission standpoint from our staff.
I would say when you do the invitations to everyone, you need to block 3 hours.
Okay.
Because I'm going to be crunched up on time today because I blocked 2 hours for these meetings.
Understand.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Are there any other board comments? No? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, let's see, so we now need to go to D7 to approve the actual meeting dates, which are also listed in your packet as well. Again, they're the odd number months, starting in January.
Which, in September, when's Hershey? Are we setting up ourselves to meet during the Hershey conference, the RV
No.
conference? Okay.
No, we're fine there.
I know it was mid-September-ish.
Yeah, no, we're
That's
good.
all.
Yeah, it is. Second week of September.
And we have 17 minutes to 11, just so y'all know.
Okay.
I'm looking at the
But
time.
no, Mike, we are good on that, though. We're good.
I have a related question. Are we okay on the number of board members that show up at the tourism industry meetings that y'all host?
Sure, yes. Yeah, we're not violating any kind of sunshine law if that's what you're worried about.
No, well, not worried per se, but that also, because for me, one of the reasons that I am okay with reducing the numbers was that those meetings have had, always had 3 or 4 board members at them, and in some cases, you're presenting the information from the last couple of board members, meetings summarized.
Yeah.
You
But
talking about the pit?
Partners in tourism,
Yeah.
yeah. It's been wildly successful. So you're right. That is another medium in regards to receiving information as far as what
Yeah,
we're
as long
doing
as
in
we don't
updates.
discuss board
Yeah,
votes,
we
we're
just
good.
can't talk.
Yeah,
right.
right. They can't look at each other. You guys can't look at each other.
So I'm looking for a motion.
I move we approve the 2025 TDC meeting dates with any necessary adjustments presented by the TDC. That's kind of like a little coverall, so I'm comfortable with that.
All right.
Need a second?
Second.
Luann Jacobs. Any further board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, I'm gonna move along because we're kind of getting,
Let's
you know,
get
it's a lot of
quick.
time.
Yep.
So D8, this is something I'm very proud of. I'm very happy about. Basically, it's straightforward. We are mandated to tip 15% to our partners, our service partners in the entire county.
I don't think you have to sell this.
Okay, it's tough. So we're going to
Motion.
20%.
Second.
No, I'm not motioning it. You want to motion it? Who's doing the first?
Jackie was.
I'll
Okay.
motion. Move to approve the updates to AR 2.09-1.
A motion by Jackie Hupner, second by Misty. Why do I keep calling you Misty? Mindy Hastings. I keep
I've
blending
been
your
called
name.
worse though, so it's all good.
Blending your name. Any further board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right. I think it's up. I'm up.
Damn it, I may stick the landing after all.
All
Take
right.
it away. That's
So-
up to you.
We'll try to be sharp and concise here. Everything you have in your packets. So real very quickly, about a week and a half ago, you received an email from myself about the hurricane, just some updates. More so talking points for you guys. If you when you're out in the public, you guys know what's going on and what we're doing. We broke it off in phases. Of course, when both Helene and Milton hit, it was just more so reactive, making sure we had all the resources there for our partners and just the community in general. Phase 2, of course, we were just really gun-ho with our social media campaigns, our landing pages, and things of that nature, making sure everybody had all the resources and all the information that they needed to do to be not only current and up to date, but to be successful. And so what we did was Alyssa, she did a marvelous job of connecting with all the businesses and to letting really folks know on that phase 2 stage of like, hey, you know what? These are the things that are open. You can patronize these businesses and everything. So between phase 1 and phase 2, staff going out volunteering, picking up stuff. I mean, I even flipped my first boat out in the water. That was an impressive feat. Terry, I know she was out at one of the hotels, tearing up drywall. I think Kings Bay Lodge, I believe it was. So we were all over. We were very active. Phase 3, really excited about this. We talk about the bureaucracy of things. We were able to fast track a brand new campaign, which is really about to start in the coming days, an additional campaign of We're Open for Business. With the partnership, of course, with Miles. This campaign is going to be about the positive, uplifting messages. We're going to highly target our drive markets of Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, Miami. Of course, with our northern partners, our northern national market of Georgia, the Carolinas, New York, Canadian markets as well. But we're really excited about that. That's going to run for about 6 weeks. Our goal is to make, with manatee season right on top of us, we wanted to make this really one of the most successful really manatee seasons on the books. So we're trying to do everything we can, is put as much money as we can into this to make sure people know that not only, Florida's open, of course, but that we are open. And, what we found and what we've heard is when you hear places like St. Pete, Clearwater, Punta Gorda beaches being closed, they think all of Florida's closed. I have friends and family that think our state is an apocalypse, like literally. And these are educated people. Well, some of my family are, so. But I would say that's that update there for you. And then, of course, the final phase, we just talked about the strategic plan, but I'll move into that at a later thing. Second thing, Alyssa, if you don't mind passing out the PIT. We've mentioned already a couple times today. This is our latest PIT event. It will be at Luann Jacobs' property of the Cove. We're really excited about that being in Inverness, so we're pumped. What makes this one special, and let me just say a special shout out to the plantation, first of all. This particular meeting was supposed to be last month at the plantation for our tailgate. Of course, the plantation received extensive damage because of the hurricane, so we're moving that particular event to the Cove. And this is going to be our tailgate partners and tourism meeting. So we're going to be in football, basketball jerseys, baseball jerseys, whatever it is. We're going to have fun with it. And we're also going to be launching, bringing our brand new visitors guide, our destination guide, that we're going to launch as well at the meeting. So we're really excited about that. So we're going to bring a lot of boxes. So all of our partners will take all those heavy boxes back to them and to their businesses. So we're excited about that. So we hopefully see you all next week. Next week. Yeah, next week from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. All right, moving on. Zartico. This is Michael Mankey's best friend here. You guys have a handout, and it's also on this TV here, but I wanted to give you guys a handout. We did it on like 11 by 17, a nice little size chart. So this is something, a snapshot I'll do monthly for everyone. What's really nice about this, you can kind of see all the little numbers and everything. But that top number, which was really cool, is something they just added to the Zartico platforms. You see 24%. So this is the percent visitor spend towards the local businesses. And just so you know, this is just for last month. This is just, so 24%, of the actual spend went to local businesses. We took out all the chains. They took out all the chains for us. So you won't see the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and things of that nature. So that was a really cool number to see because I've never seen that percentage there before. And that's just what our visitors are impacting. Again, overall, 10%, almost 10% came from visitors. The devices, that's a geolocation. You see 17%. You see our top visitor markets. It really kind of coincides with what Miles is presenting, what they're finding as well. So it's good to see when you see some of those data points match up because it makes us feel like, okay, we are doing something right, talked about household income, Mr. Ingalls. 32% is 100,000 K or plus. So that's the number you're talking about. That's a good number. Even better, 45% of them have children. Another good number. And then, of course, our visitor card holders, 45% of them ages are 25 to 54%. You'll see down below percents of visitors on where they're doing, where they're going. Outdoor recreation is huge. Then accommodations is second. There was some flux there, of course, with the whole October change. And then, of course, the number of devices. So this is this is just a snapshot to kind of give you an idea without kind of sensory overload. But I want to have Terry, if you can click that link for me, Terry. Some of you have seen this at our previous PIT meetings. And this is the POI. And I want to say, Yeah, so our three sisters,
Yes.
fearless leaders in here right now. So, when Terry looks at that, that ROI, excuse me, the points of interest, we have over how many, Terry, points of interest, just
Oh,
overall?
gosh,
300-ish?
370 something.
So we have over 300 POIs, points of interest in the entire county. So what we can do is we can target a gas station, a Black Diamond Shops, a Three Sisters, and it would let us know the percent of visitors versus resident. And then this particular chart, if you notice, Terry, I'm gonna let you read that off because I cannot see that.
31% at Three Sisters were residents, 69% were visitors. And of all of the points of interest, the total devices, 1% of them went here.
Okay. Go down to, show me Liberty Park, for example, Terry, if you don't mind.
Sure. It's one of these. Oh, am I on the right one? Yeah, I am on the right one. Oops, sorry. That's my fault.
Oh,
See, I told you I'm a rookie on
that's
this.
okay.
All right.
So what she's doing is we're just showing you, so it's really cool to see what certain points of interest are, where people are actually going and what that ratio is. So we have the Withlacoochee Trail, we have Liberty Park, we have Hunter Springs,
Kuta Pond.
Kuta Pond.
Within that are.
Well, you-
Anyway,
you
I
can
did
do-
have it a minute ago.
You can do Kuta Pond if you want to.
Okay,
Yeah, they make her
there it is.
really big.
Okay, so 82% were residents that visited there, 18% were visitors, and 10% of the devices for our overall POI.
Okay.
And
So,
does
and we'll,
that give you a gross number of people? I mean, is that 10% of 100 or 10%
Yes.
of
You
100,000?
go down and you look, and the total devices captured were 19,559.
Okay.
yeah,
So of
exactly.
that 19,000, those are the percentages.
Yes, and that's the best we can do because, it's capturing is an average of all the devices and everything. So, yep, that's where you get that number. And just so you know, the green is a good number. That means we get so much data in there, and we can say, okay, hey,
That's
this is a
valid.
really, it's a valid
Yep.
number. All right, so again, you have that. We're very happy with what Zardoco has done for us and the types of data we can pull and to even help our partners and everything going forward, which is really nice. I'll leave that there. My last thing I'll report on is the strategic plan.
So we didn't vote on that, correct? To
For
hire them?
so the strategic plan was an RFQ. So
Oh.
yes.
Okay, so it didn't have to come before us.
It didn't have to come to, yeah, so
Okay.
it was RFQ, and we got one of the best. Berkeley Young in strategies, he'll be in the market December, and you guys have the packet, just so you know. He'll be in the market December the 2nd through the 5th, okay? We are putting together a full, robust itinerary in regards to all the meetings and the appointments and the group workshops with you guys. What's important is December the 3rd, which is a Tuesday, right?
Yep.
Okay, December the 3rd, which is a Tuesday, you'll be getting all invites, so mark your calendars now. If you can't make that particular meeting, we have other subsequent meetings for you to be a part of. But that's gonna be that's gonna be for the TDC. So we're gonna make it a work group at 11:30 on December the 3rd in the Damron room in our office at the Welcome Center.
We'll
And
send
that,
out calendar invites?
Yes.
yes, we'll take care of all that for you guys.
I'm actually clear.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, if you can maybe kind of pencil that in, put that little gray area, but I'll get with Cheryl. So,
Well, we have FAC that week.
Okay.
So when is it?
11:30 a.m. to 1. So it'll be a 90-minute
that'll work.
session. And what we're doing is with this is Berkeley will be in the market with one of his partners, Madeline. And on that day, they're going to be all over the county. I mean, full day in Inverness, Crystal River, Homosassa. I mean, they'll be everywhere. And we're having about, let's see, we'll have about 6 dinners, breakfasts / lunches with select people throughout the county. And then, of course, we'll have a session with TDC. And then we'll have another session with our hoteliers with partners in tourism as well. So we'll have that too. So we have all the bases covered. This is going to be a good introduction to kind of talk about a lot of things, how the strategic plan and the timeline of everything. And then we'll be sending out that survey. And that survey is going to be really huge because it's going to really give us an idea of like what we really want, what that brand looks like, what the future holds, what does development mean for us? Ecotourism, sports tourism, meetings. I mean, I can go on and on, So we're really excited about this. The last, strategic plan that we held was pretty much commissioned in 2016. So we're long overdue. So it's time to give us a good 3 to 5 year roadmap. So we know how to spend our money going forward, and we actually have a plan. So that way, the TDC can have a clear idea of how we're going to move forward, and not only how we're going to move forward, but why. And that's the important piece. All that is in your packet as well. If anyone, I can also send this in a PDF form to your emails as well, so you guys can have it from a digital standpoint. Okay, I think I did it in about 9 minutes.
Question, have you already done the legwork so that this plan is gonna cascade from the major county plan? I mean, personally, I have found it effective if you use same colors, same structure on the actual document, but I guarantee you it's important that the main things that have worked their way into the existing county plan are carried out, they cascade all the way down.
Yeah, so to answer your question on that, so he has that information as far as what the county has done from an economic, let's say from a county. Economic development doesn't really have a plan just yet. They're trying to develop something of that nature.
Right.
But all that information will be included into our summary and our findings.
So are you're just gonna, I'll say interpolate with where we are and where you think it's gonna be and run this off of that?
Yes and no, because the county is so extensive into sewer. I mean, it kind of encompasses a little bit of everything. We're just so focused from that standpoint. We will be taking a look at the future development of maps in regards to the direction where the county goes and where we go as well. So it will have that symmetry, to answer your question. Yes.
Right, but the main things are goals and objectives. I mean, when that plan was developed, we started with 2030 and had groups working, and there was a lot of attention paid to tourism and things ecologic that, are important to consistency.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions before I let this off to?
Just lost Mindy. We're about to lose Jackie.
Okay.
At roughly 11.
All right, cool. So guys, if we can kind of do a.
Yeah,
Well-
I will skip over the star report, you can look at that yourself. I've got August and September numbers in here. I really just quickly want to focus on the September collections because that's end of year. You'll see that we ended the year just over 3 million, which quite honestly, I was really pleased with considering the scallop season that we had and that the last month of our tourism season was devastated by the hurricane activity. But yeah, we were down 5% from last year, and about $157,000 off of where we wanted to be. So disappointing because we haven't ended a year in the red before. So we got a lot of work to do. And I will say, in the words of Daryl Seaton, you got to spend the money to make more money. So keep that in mind.
Last
Terry,
thing.
I actually agree with you. I think we got off lightly with 5%.
No,
so.
we did.
Yeah.
We did. Last thing, and Alyssa, just for the social media, since we did a lot with social media and with Miles, don't worry about that today. We'll keep it clean. One thing that this is what's important that I want you guys to understand. Meant to note, expiration of terms. It will be announced for the November 19th BOCC meeting. We have 3 members who are expiring: Max Shulman, Mike Shoemaker, Luann Jacobs. 2 of them have expressed that they would like to continue on. Max Shulman and Mike Shoemaker. Ms. Luann Jacobs, she will be leaving us.
No!
Yeah, she's so we'll have to figure that out from a hotel, because she represents an accommodation side, so we'll have to fill her.
And East Side accommodation.
Yes, exactly.
Although, Dr. Desai is like the
Right.
hotel magnet for the whole county.
That is true. That is
Double
true.
duty. You don't have anything in the middle of the
You have a twin brother?
Not yet. He just said yes.
So so basically the nominate and appoint during the first BOC meeting in January, tentatively is January the 14th, but those dates have not been approved for 2025 just yet. But right now, we're looking at January 14th for nominate and to appoint. And again, we have, we have the two council members who want to come back and to serve. And then, of course, Luann will be exiting us. And it's really been a pleasure, to work with Luann. And yes, yeah, but that's the city though, yeah. So.
And I would ask Luann and Jackie if you guys know of anyone accommodations on the east side that would be good to put forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
And I can touch base with you both offline on that.
Okay.
That'd be great.
I'm very sorry to lose you. I was so excited when you joined the board.
But we'll be seeing her because we'll definitely be supporting the Cove and all their future endeavors. So things won't change.
Always here to help.
Yep.
Thank you.
I believe that's really all we have, guys. We'll end it there.
Okay.
Oh, open to the public, I think.
What's up?
Open to the public.
Oh, you're wrapped up? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, open to the public. Would anyone like to address the board? All right, seeing none. Other business by council members. Anybody have anything to say before I adjourn?
I'm glad to be back.
Yay. We're glad to have you back.
Come
All right.
for the pit. Yes.
Yep, I'll be there. Can you all put my RSVP down? I'll be there.
Yes.
December 11th, next meeting at 9 a.m. here, and we're adjourned.
Good job.